Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we are going to be placing the Grand Emporium in the city. I'm really excited to do this. Actually, I just bought this at Bricks and Minifigs the other day, and so if you guys want to check out that haul, I will put that in the top right corner of the screen for you. That stuff is really cool, and I also went to a different Lego store than I normally do, so there was a bunch of different pieces, and I've met a bunch of cool people there as well. And so we're going to do a quick overview of the Grand Emporium modular building first, and then we are going to place it in the city, which is right behind me here. So let's jump into this quick overview of the model here. We'll check out all of its details, and then we will take it from there. All right, so I have the Grand Emporium on a little turntable now, and so it actually spins, which is pretty cool. And so here's a quick, or I guess a really quick overview of the exterior of it here. You'll notice that the back two sides are pretty plain, but that's by design, so it can go next to other buildings. And it even has a little billboard on top, which is really cool to see as well. But coming down to the bottom floor here, you'll notice this intricate detail here with these curved arches here, and then the dark tan 1x2 tiles. And the sidewalk detail is really deluxe as well. And there's a little ice cream cart out front here, and a little box like a trash can, and this has the Technic pins in it, so it can actually connect to the other buildings. I don't personally use the Technic pins, but they are there if you want them. And then these nice green awnings up top here, and you'll notice that a lot of this has dust on it, and I bought this used at Bricks and Minifigs. It did not come with the box nor the instructions, but all the figures are there. 99% of the pieces are there, and we'll talk about that in just a second here. But the base plate is also a little bit warped, but it's not the end of the world. And you get, like I said, 7 figures. And we will take a look at all of these in just a second here. But as it spins away from me here, you'll notice this really, really nice tiling pattern up at the front. And this door to get in to the Grand Emporium is a revolving door, which is really, really nice to see. And then there's a couple flower pots out front. These are pretty basic, but I think they serve their purpose pretty decently well. And then coming along this way, the classic lamppost and a little mailbox out here with a piece of mail in it. And I don't know why the set has green 2x2s underneath when the base plate is tan, but I will probably end up changing that actually. So that is something to note. And then this side is pretty much the same. It has the same detail on it and the cheese slopes above. And above that front door is a nice brick-built shop sign, which is pretty cool to see. And then coming around the rest of the first floor here, the back walls have pretty much nothing on them, which is nice because you can have this open and it not look totally ugly if there's not a building right next to it. So that's good to see. And then there's a little rubbish bin up at the back, and then a light above this back door here. Now, that is pretty much it. And so with that being said, we're going to move up to the second level here, which is almost identical to the third. So I guess we'll cover both at the same time. But pretty much this has dark green windows behind these tan arches here. And so this is a really deluxe thing. It looks really nice. And I think both of these floors look actually great. And you'll notice on the second floor, they have these little flags out front, which I would assume is where the boutique hotel got its flags inspired from. So that's a nice little detail, as well as this window washer that is also on the Natural History Museum. So that's a nice little continuity detail as well. And you'll notice this really, really nice arching detail for the roof there, and also this big flower piece here. Let me see if I can pull this out for you. This is pretty nice. It's pretty deluxe. And so this just fits right in there like that. And that is pretty much that. And then the back, like I said, is pretty plain, except for that one window. And you'll notice on the roof here is a big skylight with these 2x12x4, I believe it is, panels here, or like car windshields. And then the only other detail up here is the billboard and a couple lights to go with it. And that is pretty much that. So we're going to set this off to the side. And that also has the window washer, but that can easily be removed by just those 2 studs there. And we are going to work our way from the top down. Actually, I feel like that's probably a little bit easier. So we're going to take top floor off here. And you'll notice that the interior of this is pretty bland. Now, there's not a whole lot going on here, but if you spin this around, it has a really, really nice chandelier. And I think this is really, really nice. It does spin up out of the way, so you can kind of get a better look at it there. I think that looks really nice, and the gem is a nice touch to it as well. And that overhangs this open section here, which we will take a look at in just a second when the building is all put back together. But you'll notice a couple of things in here, including a scooter, a ball, or an area 4 ball, and then this little built-up house here, which is pretty cool. And that's it. That is pretty much that. So there's not a whole lot of stuff going on here for the Grand Emporium. There's just a couple things on this 3rd floor here. And the same can be said for the 2nd floor. This is a couple of dining pieces, couple of plates, couple of cups, and that is pretty much that. So for something that is a shop, I would have loved to have seen more stuff. And you'll notice that yellow ball there was also supposed to be on the 3rd floor there in the toy section. But this is what I was referring to with that big hole in the middle. It's actually a space for escalators. And so the escalator here is brick built, which is really nice, and it works on hinges. Unfortunately, the copy of the model that I got is not 100% complete, so I'm going to have to find the instructions online and fill in a couple of those pieces there. But it's not the end of the world. They're not specialized, and you'll see right here what it's supposed to look like, which is pretty nice to see. There is only one escalator going to each floor, though, so I don't know if this is supposed to reverse or how that's supposed to work, because people can get up and then they can't get down, or vice versa. So that is something to note as well. But let me show you guys the interior of the 1st level here, and it's clothing and perfume. So you'll see a couple hats on the display there, as well as a couple of bottles of perfume or something, and then some shorts or pants for kids. And then these 2 open spots here are actually for 2 of the minifigs. These are supposed to be mannequins, and so they are supposed to sit in the window just like so. And they're not supposed to have faces. Their heads are supposed to be turned around so you don't see the smiley face, but that is all good there. And then coming around this way, there's actually a little changing room with the capes here on it, and then the cash register right there. And the version of the model that I have has a couple pieces underneath, which I will take out and kind of show you guys. So one of these pieces is just a pair of legs for one of the customers, because he is changing as I drop it on the floor. And the other is part of that escalator, actually, which is supposed to go right about there, maybe. So I have to look at the instructions. I have to figure that out. But let me put this back together and let me show you the top-down view of all of the floors. And so here it is with the 3 floors put together once more. And you'll notice you can see all the way down to the ground level. That is the cash register right there. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of light to get into there. I'm trying to kind of spin this around a little bit to kind of force some light into there, but it doesn't seem to be working that great. But you can see how thick these walls are. They're a full 2 studs thick, so the windows are on the back, and then the arches are on the front. And then the curved stuff at the front here is pretty much just done with a corner or a curved brick, and then you put the windows on top of that. And then the fence detailing doesn't really allow space for figures, but it's just for detail, I guess. So like I said, this is a really, really nice model. I'm very happy that I was able to pick it up. So once again, huge, huge shout out to the Maple Shade Bricks and Minifigs for not only having this, but selling it at a good price. And so really thankful for that. That was really cool. But like I said, a couple of pieces are missing. So that did also, I guess, lower the price just a tad. But you'll notice here that while this does look complete around the roof, there is one substitution here, which was a 1x3 instead of, or 1x3 1x1s instead of a 1x3. So that's not the end of the world. I'll have to find one in my collection. But that is pretty much that for this model here. I would have loved to have seen a little bit of border around the back end of the roof here, but minifigs aren't supposed to be up here anyway, so it's not the end of the world. And also I would have loved to have seen more interior detail, but overall, I'm really happy with this. I paid a good price for it, and so now that the overview is done, we can finally go and decide where to put this in the city. I have no idea where it's going to go, to be honest with you, but I'm really happy with this. I think it looks great, and so Now we are going to let this spin for a little bit so you guys can get one more 360 shot of it before it goes in the city, and it probably never gets removed again. So let's go find a home for this in the city right now. Oh, and also before I forget, the minifigs are pretty basic. They all have the standard smiley face, and that is pretty much that. So these don't have a lot of detail. This guy doesn't have pants because these are his pants here. And then two of the figures, like I said, are mannequins, and so they are already in there. One is wearing a suit, and the other is wearing a dress. There you go. And then the guy on the little thing here is a window washer, so he's just wearing a bit of overalls. And I think that looks really good. I'm happy with that. I think he looks good. And so now that that is taken care of, we can go find a home for this in the Lego City. All right, so taking a look at the city here, we have quite a bit of open space. The 3 base plates over here are completely open, but I think I want to save that for the botanical garden. So we are going to leave that for the time being. And then so we have these 2 lanes right here pretty much of base plates. And let me walk around and kind of show you guys what we're working with. So basically what I've got here is a full base plate here, which is a corner. I have this section right here, which could be a corner, but then I have this little extra area right there. So not sure about that, but I could make it work if that is something that I want to do. And then maybe I move that ice cream cart or something over to here. But then you're shopping right next to the train shed and train yard. And I don't know if that really makes a whole lot of sense. We have that area. We have this coming over this way. This corner is occupied at the moment by the 2-part apartment building here. And so both of these corners are pretty much out. And that leaves this right here next to the jazz club. So I think this might actually be a good home for it, but I want to bring it to the front of the city and be able to see it. So maybe we try it back here first, see how it looks, and then we'll try it up at the front. And I guess we will take it from there. All right, so I am placing this right next to the jazz club here, like I said. And I think this could look good here. I guess it depends on the depth of each of the buildings here. But let me see if this will fit properly. And it seems to do so, which is good to see. And so that is pretty much that there. So it is in, and so now I want to take a look at it from this angle with you guys here. I don't think that looks too bad, to be honest with you. I think that looks pretty decent. Again, I'm not a huge fan, personally, of shopping and then having just people fall off right here next to the train tracks. Obviously, I'd build a wall or something like that, but I don't love how people would be shopping here, and then it's just that. It's not the end of the world because I also have the Parisian restaurant here as well. So that's something to note. But I quite like this. I don't love the depth on it either, where it's right next to the jazz club there. It's at the same stud on the base plate. It's not varying like most of the buildings are. But I don't think this looks too bad. Let me give you guys a bit of a closer up shot of this, and then we can try it up front. All right, so here is the Grand Emporium here, and I think this looks pretty decent. The tiling is really deluxe, and I will be redoing the tiling on the edge here, so the light gray doesn't have 2 lines. It's going to look like that, and also like this here. So that is pretty much that. But you can see what I'm talking about here, where the Grand Emporium is on the same stud as the Jazz Club there, and so I don't love that. But I don't think it looks too bad, to be honest with you. I think this street looks pretty decent. And so with this in mind, I'm going to take a picture here, and then we can try this down at the front and see how it all looks. And obviously, if I do choose to put it here, I would rotate the billboard so it looks that way, so you can actually see it. So that's something to note. But overall, I think this looks pretty good. Let's try it up at the front, and I'll show you guys how that looks. All right, so this is what the Grand Emporium looks like up at the front of the city here, and I think it looks okay. There's a couple things that I don't love about it, but that's just because of how I built the other buildings around it, so that's not the end of the world. So let me come around this way, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. This is what it looks like from its main camera-friendly angle, and then coming up closer here, you'll notice a couple of things. First, the pizza shop that I have on the right here is not at the greatest depth. You'll see that the detailing on the first floor is kind of tucked in next to the pizza shop there, so that's not ideal. And the base plate on this is warping a little bit, and so it doesn't want to stay totally straight up and down. But it is one stud back behind that, which I think looks good, but the ground floor I don't love. And then coming over this way, you'll notice it's actually even more dramatic on this side here. Instead of the one stud, it's about 3. And then you'll notice on the top floors as well, it's the same thing. So if I do decide to put it here, I would swap up the placement of these buildings on the base plate as well as these as well. I would figure out something to fix that, and then that would all be good to go. So that is not something to consider, but I do want your guys' feedback on this. Let me know what you think of putting the Grand Emporium here as opposed to back there. I would love to hear what you guys think of it, because at the moment, I have no idea what to do with this. I like it here, and I also quite like it there, but I want your guys' feedback on it. I wasn't planning on adding this to the city so soon. I was not at all expecting Bricks and Minifigs to have it. I wasn't expecting to say, yeah, you know what, why not? I'll buy it. And so I am really happy to add it to the city, but I need your guys' feedback. So let me know what you think. This is just a couple of different angles of it for you. But that is going to wrap up today's video. I just wanted to show you guys an overview of the Grand Emporium in case you've never seen it before. It is a pretty old modular. It actually just turned 15 this year, which is pretty crazy. But I wanted to show you guys it anyways because I just added it to my collection and it's new to me. I've never seen it in person before, so that is pretty cool. But that is it for me. Let me know what you guys think of this. But if you guys like this video, make sure to like it and subscribe, as well as click the bell notifications so you don't miss any future uploads, like potentially moving this and also properly integrating it into the city here. Make sure to write a comment down below to let me know what you think of the placement here, whether it should stay here, go back next to the Jazz Club, or you think it should go in a different spot entirely. I'm not opposed to revamping the entire city here and changing all of the modulars around, but let me know what you think, and if there's any spot that you want me to move it to, like possibly to the spot where the Brick Bank is, or maybe where the Palace Cinema is, let me know. I would be really curious to hear what you guys think. And so that is pretty much that. So seriously, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.